Over the weekend, a tragic and shocking story, people still talking about it today. An Orange County man shot his terminally ill 88-year-old wife and then turned the gun on himself. He survived. It happened in Laguna Woods, where Phyllis Fish was under hospice care and recently learned she had cancer. Her 90-year-old husband, James, decided to end her suffering. Fish, a doctor, gave his wife morphine and then shot her. Our contributors tonight, the editor of LAMetBlogs.com, Ruth Waits, and doctor of social ethics, Charlotte Laws. Charlotte, I'll begin with you. James Fish will be charged with manslaughter. Do you have any sympathy for him?
I have total sympathy for him. I think it's very difficult for us to judge someone unless we have had terminal illness in our family. And it's probably like watching your loved one be waterboarded on a daily basis, and eventually you can't take the suffering anymore, and you say, I'm going to have to do something about it. Plus, this man is a doctor, and she not only had the original problem, but then she was diagnosed with cancer. So as a doctor, he probably had intimate knowledge of what was to come. So I have total sympathy. We have prisons that are bulging at the seams. We don't have room for a 90-year-old man. And as for the right to die, I really feel this is something that should be passed in all states. Currently, there are only 3 states that have right to die: Oregon, Montana, and Washington. And when they passed it a decade ago in Oregon, the opponent said people are going to go hog wild. But only about 150 people have died under this euthanasia law. So I do think it's something that we should go forward with in the rest of the country. And interestingly enough, today in Pennsylvania, Kevorkian, Dr. Death, was doing a speech at a college. And he was talking about, apparently a riveting speech, according to those in attendance, and he was talking about how the 9th Amendment guarantees us the freedom and the right to die if we wish to. And it's something he says that lawmakers try to cover up. They don't want us to know that we have this personal freedom. So that's what he says it comes from as far as our constitutional right to die and for euthanasia.
Ruth, what do you think? Do you have sympathy for James Fish?
I absolutely do, but I don't know if the framers of the Constitution necessarily put that in the 9th Amendment. One thing I do want to say is that I keep hearing about how law enforcement, there's no budget for law enforcement, but we can still find time and money to prosecute this poor old man who's 90 years old and just trying to do his wife one last simple act of grace and courtesy and kindness. I mean, it's disgusting that they would bring charges against him at all, let alone press them.
All right, let's move on. What does it take to become governor? Well, we've learned in this state, you've got a shot if you're a celebrity. You've also got a shot if you've got a lot of money. If you would say hello to Meg Whitman. She is the former CEO of eBay, and she threw her hat into the Republican ring. She started buying radio time 9 months before GOP voters will determine their nominee. Whitman is serious. She's put $19 million of her own money into the campaign. And as for her platform, she said she'll cut $15 billion in state spending and would lay off 40,000 state employees to eliminate redundant government agencies. Insurance Commissioner Steve Poizner is going to run as well. He's also got a lot of money. He says her plan won't work. On the Democratic side, San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom is running. Ruth, of the 3 names, who would be the best to lead the state, or what kind of person is needed to run the state?
Well, I just love that lately it's become this whole on-the-job training. Come to California, be governor if you got enough money. It's not about money, and it's not about, oh, I think I can run a business, because clearly it's been shown that that has nothing to do with anything. That politics is not a business like any other business.
Well, then if that's the case, but wait, if that's the case, then who's qualified?
Nobody's qualified. It's a terrible job. She should have lunch with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura and maybe throw in Kinky Friedman just to see what she's getting into. It's not about throwing money at this problem. Also, they're saying, oh, she's got all this experience. eBay at its top only had 15,000 employees. There's absolutely no analogy for her that she's not qualified for this job at all.
Charlotte, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a very difficult job being governor, and that's something that Schwarzenegger found out when he got there. And talk is cheap. It's very easy to say we're going to reduce waste, we're going to fire 40,000 employees. But even Schwarzenegger said a couple of years ago that if you do fire the employees, you're going to have problems with public safety. I personally support Jerry Brown for this position.
And by the way, he has not announced it. Let me just say, he has not announced yet, but you support him. Go ahead.
But he will announce. Take my word for it.
He will announce and he'll win.
And, you know, to me, I'm actually an independent, and he really is an independent. I know that he seems like a Democrat, and when he's running for, a race, when he's campaigning, he is a Democrat. However, he was a declined estate. He got out of the Democratic Party years ago when he was not running for office. He is like an Energizer bunny. He's got more energy than the power grid of California. I've been with him going from stop to stop, and he's like, it's amazing. He may be 70 years old, but he's a tireless campaigner. And I think that he has enough experience to understand what he's getting into. He's been, a mayor, he's been attorney general, and I think he could handle the job.
Well, you talk about experience, and you might say, we need some new blood. My God, this guy's a career politician. That's all he's done. I mean,
yeah, but he's got a pretty good record, and nothing Meg Whitman has said is in any way new. It's all just a bunch of vague platitudes. We can lead our way out of this. What does that mean? It means nothing. I'm going to create jobs, but I'm going to fire people. You can't. It's just she's absolutely It's not just about how much money you can throw at the problem. It just isn't.
All right. Well, I'll take the last word on this, and I guess you're not voting for Meg. Okay.